Flosstube friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. Today is August 31st. It's a Wednesday, and I am here today to give you what I'm going to call my summer wrap-up. I did not film a video in July. I was distracted by some other interests of mine and didn't really do a lot of stitching, so there wasn't a lot of content. So I just thought I would merge it into August video. So let's get started and we'll look at some statistics for the 2 months since you last saw me. Since then, I've worked on 9 of my whips. I actually have 1 finished, so that's exciting, yay. I didn't have any full finishes and I didn't have any new starts. In my last video I had talked about whether I was going to do a new start for my birthday, so obviously I decided I wasn't going to do that. I'm feeling really strongly. I really want to get things finished this year, so I'm really trying to show a lot of restraint and not start new things. So my whips that I've worked on, my primary focus project has been my primary focus project for a couple of months now. If you're new, welcome. I pick 2 focus projects every month. My first focus project is always my oldest whip, and it stays my focus project until it's completed. My second focus project is just randomly chosen using a wheel, and I work on that for the entire month. So my primary focus project is Behind the Bit, which I realize I have forgotten to bring photos of what things will look like when they're finished. So pardon me for a minute while I go and collect those. Okay, sorry about that. I am back. So focus project number 1, Behind the Bit. I worked on this in the month of July a little bit. I worked on it in the month of August quite a bit. This is what it will look like when it's done. Pardon this printout just over time is getting rubbed off. This is done, so Behind the Bit is by White Willow Stitching, and it's done on an 18 count oatmeal Aida with all the called for DMC. I will put in a photo here of what it looked like the last time you would have seen it. And here is where I am at now. Oops, wrong way. Try that again. There we go. So I finished this side over here where the rider's hands are, and you can see the saddle pad there. And then I got to go over to the other side and start on the horse's face, and you can sort of see his eye there in the black. It still looks a little bit strange, but yeah, so that's kind of exciting to get to his face. And I think I'm like almost 45% done, somewhere around there. So that's encouraging. So yeah, so I'm having fun watching that come together, and look forward to continuing working on it until it's finished, is the goal. So in July, my second focus project was Walk with Dog, and I'm very sad again that I really just, because I didn't do much stitching in July, it like only got a handful of stitches put in it. I almost wasn't going to show it because you're not really going to see a lot of difference, but I thought if somebody new was watching and they'd never seen it before, they might be interested or intrigued. So I'll put a picture here of what it will look like when it's completed. Pardon me. Always getting up in the chair beside me. And this is a pattern by Artisy, and it's based on the artwork of Leonid Afremov. And it's on an 18 count white Aida with the called for DMC. And that's where I'm at. So yeah, I just put in very few stitches here, and that's all. So someday it will see some progress, hopefully. So then I switched to a new secondary focus project for August, and that was back to my Christmas village, which I'm always happy to stitch on, so I was excited that this came up. That's what it will look like when it's done. Again, a very tiny picture, but gives you an idea. And this is a pattern by Sarah Germani. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I have down that it's on a 32 count lamb's wool linen, but I'm thinking it might be 28. I haven't checked the count, but based on it's a fairly big project, so. But here is where I'm at. So I've been working on this bottom corner, so there's 3 pages left. It's a 6-page pattern, so this is page 4. Here's pages 1 to 3. So I'm on this corner down here. So I still have a little bit. I've done the tree, and sorry, I have a fan blowing, so the linen's blowing around. So yeah, I've worked on that tree, and that part of that house continues to the next page, and that little poinsettia plant down there, and the mama moose and the baby moose. And there's going to be a Santa down there by that brown blob on the bottom, which is his sack. But yeah, so that's coming along, looking good. Sadly, the month of August is over, so it's going to go away for a while. But it'll come up again at some point. And we'll get that done someday as well. So now I'm going to switch to projects that I worked on the weekends. I did want to include Galloping Horses, which was a project I think I was working on the end of June, and I had a couple of days left after my video, so I decided to work on it for a couple of more days, just because I was having fun stitching on it. So this is what Galloping Horses will look like when it's completed. This is a pattern by the City Stitcher. I'm doing it on a 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself with denim blue Rit dye. And here is where I'm at. Oh, I apologize. I'll put a picture of where it was before. If I haven't been saying that, I'll try and stick them in when I edit it, but pictures of what it looked like before the last time you saw it. And here's where it's at now. So this is a fun pattern. There's specialty stitches as well as just regular cross stitches. So there's the satin stitch up here. And then I think, oh, I'm sorry, I forget what those ones are called. I can look on the pattern. Yeah, those are Algerian eyelets. I don't think I've done any of the other specialty stitches, but these ones in here are Algerian eyelets, and these are Algerian eyelets, and the rest are all just cross stitches. So yeah, I got started on one of the Galloping Horses. So that one is also fun to stitch on. And again, if it became a focus project, I don't think it would take me long to finish it. And I am battling that a little bit. Sometimes I work on these projects and I'm going, oh, if I could just dedicate a couple weeks to this, I could finish it. But I really want to keep touching all of my whips and making progress on them all. So yeah, I just sort of try and show some restraint and stick with my process and keep things moving. So another weekend project that I did in the month of July was Leaves of Love by Tellen Emlyn. I've already done one of these. I've done Dogwood, and this one is Clematis. They're kind of like companion pieces. And that's what it will look like when it is completed. I will put a picture in here of where it was the last time you would have seen it. I'm stitching this on 28 count black Jovelin with all of the called for DMC. And there. The colors get washed out if I go that way. They're really pretty colors and they really pop on the black, but so that's where I'm at now. So then another weekend project that I worked on was Stallion. I'll put a picture in here of what it will look like when it's done. And then I'll put a picture of where it was the last time you saw it. Now you may not see a big difference because I've just done one color and I've started another color. And the color that I've completed, again, there wasn't a ton of area coverage. There's just like hit and miss stitches. If you're new here, this is a pattern. It's from an Etsy seller. Her name is Anna Duplant. I'm stitching on an 18 count oatmeal Aida with all the called for DMC, but when Anna sends you the pattern, you know, besides the traditional pattern with all the symbols on it, she gives you a page for each color. So I decided that would be an opportunity to maybe try a project using color completion, which I've never done before. So it's been a bit of a challenge because, yeah, some of the colors are just like there's one here and a couple over here and over here. So it involves a lot of counting and double counting and triple counting. And so far, everything has worked out and things have ended up where they're supposed to be for the most part. The odd time I find the odd error, but I can usually figure it out and it's easy enough to correct. I've told myself if I ever get to a point where I've really messed it up bad, then I'm going to stop the color completion and just go to sort of traditional full coverage. But I'm having fun with it, and I will put in at the end, I've kind of done a time lapse or a photo montage of, like, I take a picture of each color as I complete it. So I'll put that in at the end and you'll sort of see the progression of the colors from the first ones to where I am now. And I just thought it would be really cool when I finish it to be able to show that whole process of each color being added. But this is where it is right now. So again, it's sort of one of these sort of caramely yellowy colors that I added in this time. So you may not necessarily appreciate a whole lot of that. So but that's where he is. My other weekend project was Whip It by Awesome Pattern Studios. I'll put a photo here of what it'll look like when it's done. I've done a color conversion on this. Not that I don't like the original, it's quite nice, but I kind of wanted to do it more in grays and tans and rusty reds kind of thing. That noise you hear is Ollie. He's trying to lay down in the sun beside me. And there's a carpet there and he always feels he has to scratch the carpet to make a bed, but hopefully he'll lay down. Can you lie down there, buddy? So, so I'm using Pattern Keeper for this chart. So Awesome Pattern Studios patterns work in Pattern Keeper. And Pattern Keeper makes it really easy to do a color conversion because you can just actually go in and edit the pattern and just swap out the color numbers. So I always find this is the second one of their patterns that I've done, sort of these sort of mosaic type patterns. And I always find when you're stitching on them, you're kind of like going, is this going to look okay? Because I did a color conversion on the other one, but the other one turned out fine and I liked it. But anyway, this is where I am with Whip It. So this is done on a 28 count linen. I know the color is time because it was on the tag, but I don't know who the manufacturer is. I'm not loving this linen. It's very loosey-goosey, so I don't know if it's an old Weeks Dye Works linen or who it's by, but not my favorite linen to work with, but I'm making it work, and I am liking how the colors are looking. So this is where I am now. I started some work on this other ear over here. So, and yeah, hopefully I put in a picture of where it was the last time you saw it. And then my last weekend project that I worked on just this past weekend is called Daisies. I'll put a photo of what it'll look like when it's done here. It's also from an Etsy seller called Counting the Stars. And I'm doing it on a 16 count white Aida with all the called for DMC. I will put a picture in here of where it was the last time you saw it. This is another full color piece that I'm doing, and sometimes I find it's fun to try a different process than what you would normally do, and I thought it would be really fun in this one to like start at the top left corner and work all the way across that first row, and I just sort of park threads as I went. And if there's a big gap, obviously I would start like a new, new blue, so to speak. And yeah, so I'm going to just keep working my way down. So again, over time, it's going to be fun to watch the picture kind of appear from the top down. But that's why it kind of looks funny, because it's a long skinny line and all the threads are hanging down from it. But yeah, so that was the picture of where it was the last time you saw it. And I've basically just done, I think, maybe 3 more rows, 2 more rows. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. And it is fun doing that. It's different than doing the 10 by 10 squares like I often do when I do full coverage. So that is it for all of the whips that I worked on, focus projects, weekend projects. So my other one that I worked on and finished is my mini tree hugger sal. So this was a sal from 2021 that I did really good up until about August of last year, keeping up with every month, but then I kind of slacked off. So I just threw it in my whip pile and worked on it not that long ago. I think I showed you, maybe even in June, I showed you a photo of, I got one more tree done, but it came up again in August, and I decided I really wanted to finish the last 3 trees on the weekend that I was working on it, and so I pushed myself and I got them all done. So that feels great to have another finish. So this is the mini tree hugger sal. It's from Carolyn Manning Designs. I did it on an 18 count oatmeal Ada with all of the called for DMC. And here is what it looks like. So there's all 12 of the trees, 1 for every month. So this was my first monthly mystery sell, and it was fun, and I think it was a good one to start with because, everybody loves a tree, and it was fun to see all the different trees come up every month. And I have different favorites for different reasons. I really like how the Christmas tree here turned out for December. Some of them were just fun to stitch, like this one down here was really fun to stitch. Others just look really cool, like I really like the look of this one. But others were not so fun to stitch. Like these types of trees I find are really time consuming, and it's easy to make mistakes, and when you're making these little leaves, and I don't like to carry my thread across too far, so then you're feeding the thread under the branches to come around. So those weren't always fun to stitch, but it was still a great experience. I guess the one thing I was hoping for was that the monthly trees would be tied to the month. So yeah, like the one in January maybe would have snow on it. The Christmas tree, obviously for December, that made sense to me. But I thought there's a lot of missed opportunities because there weren't any like fall colored trees. Like this is the November tree, and this was the October tree, and this is the September tree. So the trees don't really seem to be themed to the month, which makes me a little bit sad, because if they had been very monthly specific, I probably would have done them individually and then switched them out every month. The other thing I was a little bit sad about is this was the first tree in the very first month, had this cute little bluebird in it, and that set me up with the expectation that if not every month, maybe every month, every couple months, every 3 months, there might be a little critter, like a squirrel at the base of a tree or another different type of bird, but there never was. So that set me up for disappointment. So those are my only negatives about the sal. Was it would have been fun to have some seasonally themed trees and maybe some other little tiny critters to go along with the trees. But again, it was still a lot of fun, and I think the designer did a great job of creating 12 trees that all looked very different. So that's cool. So that is my finish for the month of August. So those are all of my stitching for the summer, basically, July and August. So the next segment I like to share with you usually is a future start. And I purchased another kit, surprise, surprise, a little while ago that I was going to share with you today. That is going to go in my bin of future starts and on my wheel, my future start wheel, that once I get a few of my whips completed, I'll start spinning the wheel and adding in some new starts. But it is this Dimensions kit. It's called Peking Pops. So it's got a couple of what look like English Springer Spaniels to me, peeking out of a door. And I just fell in love with the face on this little guy. So I know it's a lot of grays and blacks again, but I'm actually enjoying working with the grays and blacks on my white horse full coverage that I'm doing. So I think this is going to be really fun to do sometime, and I'll love to have this displayed in my home when it's completed. So Dimensions, Needlecrafts, Peking Pups. And yeah, it's just like white Ada. And there's the threads, not a lot of variety in color, but that's okay. That's okay. So next I'd like to talk about my plans. So carrying on into September, my primary focus project is going to be behind the bit. It's going to stay there until it's completed. Might take a couple years, but whenever it's done, it's done. But I did spin the wheel this morning to pick a new secondary focus project. And I'll work on those two projects, you know, Monday to Friday, split the week 2 to 3, 3 to 2, every other day, whatever I decide to do that week. And then the weekends I'll spin the wheel and pick a project just for the weekend. But my project number 2 for the month of September, here's my wheel spin here, is going to be, I call it Grazing Horses. I think the pattern, here's what it'll look like when it, yeah, the pattern's just called Horses. So this is a pattern by, oh, it's not even on here. It's a kit. I'll tell you more about it next month when I show you the photos. So that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And this is sort of, or not sort of, this is where I'm starting from, just to give you a reference. So I've just started that dandelion. It's on the outside edge. So yeah, so we'll be working on that in the month of September. So also in plans, I'm very excited. In September, we have the Hidden Stitchers Retreat coming up again. That's the same one that I attended back in March. We decided, we all had such a great time, that we wanted to do it annually, but we thought it would be better to move it to the fall, and none of us wanted to wait a year and a half to get together again, so we decided we would do it this fall. So we're doing that in September, and then hopefully every fall we'll meet up again at the same retreat center. So I'm extremely excited to get back together with that group of people. And now that some of the restrictions are lifted, we have more people coming. So it's going to be fun to meet the new people that are coming, and just have a great weekend together, hanging out and stitching and relaxing and eating good food. I do have to do my small for the Smalls Exchange, but I'm not going to share anything about that. So no sneak peeks. No hints this time. Those of you that might be watching that are attending, you'll just have to wait to see what I decide to stitch and bring. I will take pictures to show you in my next video after the retreat is over. So we're going to work on that. And I haven't decided what projects I'm going to take yet. Whether I'm going to take my focus projects and work on those, whether I'm going to spin the wheel and take a weekend project. I'll probably take more than one project to work on, obviously. And I haven't even decided if I'll do a new start. So stay tuned to see what I end up deciding to do there. But so that's in my plans as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So as far as stitching goes, that is everything I have to share today. I do have a couple more segments. If you want to stick around, if you're interested to see those, my sneak peek into my Etsy shop and my craft from the past. But if you're just here for the stitching, that's all I really have to share. And thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you next month. But for those of you that have decided to stay, I'm going to do a sneak peek into my Etsy shop. I do apologize if you're somebody that follows my Etsy shop. It's looking a little bit sad. The shelves are a little bit empty. It's not that I haven't been sewing. I've actually been really busy behind the scenes doing quite a bit of sewing. Late spring, early summer, I had a rush of custom orders that I was working on, and some of them were large custom orders. A lot of them were for my portfolio project bag that I make, which is kind of time consuming, or takes a long time to make one. So I was making a lot of that stuff that never went up in the shop. And then when I did start making some stuff, I decided I wanted to set some aside to build up some inventory. So I had, you know, a good chunk of stuff to take with me to the retreat when I go, because Jenny, the organizer, has generously allowed me to bring some of my items for people to purchase if they're interested. So I wanted to have a bit of a selection for people. So I've been a little bit stingy that way, and I've kind of just been keeping some of that stuff as I make it to take with me. I have put a few new magnifier covers up because I know there's people often looking for those. And certainly when the retreat is over, the stuff that I don't sell, I'm going to load all that up. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully there'll be a bulk of items going in. If I've had a really successful retreat, there might only be a few. But then as I work on stuff, then I'll be putting it up into the shop. So you'll start to see some inventory build back up there again. So please bear with me. But I thought it'd be fun to show you some of the things I've been working on. Sorry to tease you, because these things are going to the retreat. If they don't sell, they'll be in the shop. But again, I just wanted to give you a sneak peek of some stuff I've been working on. So because we're heading into the fall and Halloween is coming, I've made some Halloween bags. So these are these quilted zippered bags that I make. They just have a white lining. That's what the backing fabric looks like. So there's that one. And then this is an orange one. So these are really bright, traditional orange and black type Halloween colors. So those will be going with me to the retreat. If you're coming to the retreat, there's a little sneak peek. I do have some quilted minis that match those as well, the little notions pouches that I make. The other fun thing that I've been making, when I recently reorganized my craft space and reorganized my scraps, I decided to save pieces as small as 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares, because I wanted to try piecing together those to make what I think they call it postage stamp, because you end up with a 1 by 1 inch square. So I wanted to play around with that and see what that was like. And I wanted to make it really random. I wanted to not have to think about what colors I was going to put together and the placement of the colors. So I literally have all those little squares in a bin, and when I made these little notions pouches, I just randomly reached in and grabbed a color. And the only rule I made was I wouldn't put two of the same color beside each other, or even in the same row. Or, you know, if I had a solid gray and a solid black, I wouldn't put those beside each other, type of thing. So, and that was really liberating and a lot of fun. And it ends up creating something that to me really reminds me of like an old-fashioned grandma's quilt, where she literally did use up all of her scraps. So here's what they look like. So they're little boxed bottom zippered pouches with the zipper on the top, just with a white lining. They're just cute little things. You could use them for anything. You could use them for makeup or whatever. And so the denim that I put on the bottom, and here's just a few. I think I have about 5 of these I'm going to take to the retreat. But this denim is recycled denim that were my kids' jeans when they were little. So that was really fun to use that up as well. So yeah. So these are, I'm calling them postage stamp minis. So I hope to make more of these in the future. They're fun to make. They're quite cute, and just something a little bit different than what I've done before. And it's fun recycling the denim and using the denim too. So I'm not sure if I'll make bigger ones. Again, it's a little bit time consuming. When you think these are a 5x7 square, and this is like 3x7, so it almost takes as long to make this as it does this, especially because this has two sides. So to make a big one would be, would take a while to do that, but we'll see. I still may, or I may even at some point decide to do something similar with the big bags, is just randomly pick colors and put them together, and then have like a twill or some sort of neutral as the backing or backdrop. But so yeah, so that's a little sneak peek into my Etsy shop, or technically into what I've been doing. Hopefully some of those things will end up in my Etsy shop after the retreat, or I will definitely create more to put in there if they do sell. So yeah, so the last thing, and I'm digging deep here. I keep saying I'm running out of crafts from the past to share with you, but I did have a light bulb moment last night and thought of something that I had tucked away that I completely forgot about. And that is a thing I did years and years and years ago. And I was looking online, and you can still find patterns for these, but basically they're called beaded safety pins. I'm gonna... So what you do, can you see that? So you use safety pins. So you put little safety pins down here. And you follow a pattern. It's very much like cross stitching, right? Because it's pixel art. And you feed the beads on there, and then slide all those safety pins by their little ends on a larger safety pin, and then you can pin it on your coat, or I saw online, I think a lot of people are pinning it on their shoes now, like on their shoelaces at the front of their shoe. But so that's my Christmas one with a wreath. I've seen a Christmas one with a Santa. A lot of ones. And this so it shows up well. This is my Halloween one with a little smiling pumpkin. How cute is that? Anyway, beaded safety pins. So if you've got some leftover Mill Hill beads from a pattern that you did some beading on, and you're looking for a fun, quick thing to do, search beaded safety pins online. You can find all kinds of patterns and have some fun and make yourself some little pins, and you can stick them on your tote bags, put them on your shoes, put them on your coat, whatever tickles your fancy. That'd even be fun if you made a homemade card for somebody and somehow incorporate that in the card, and you got a card and a gift all in one. Anyway, beaded safety pins, give it a try. It's fun. I might have to start making some more. Those are probably over 20 years old. I'm not sure when I made those, but anyway, that is all that I have to share with you today. Thank you for stopping by and coming to visit with me and allowing me to share my stitching with you. I appreciate each and every one of you. For those of you that reached out to me when I didn't put a video up last month just to make sure everything was okay and to check in with me, thank you so much. You know who you are, and that meant a lot to me, that you're concerned and that you miss me, and I'm glad to be back and having this opportunity to talk about my stitching with you guys. So everybody take care, and I will see you next month. Bye. Nice grab. Can you drop it? Good boy. I don't think you can pick them both up. You're not a golden retriever. You tired yet? No? Sorry. Bad bounce.